Hey guys, welcome back to Versatile Knowledge and let's talk about the iPhone SE. So Apple launched the iPhone SE 2020 a couple of days back. There was no event, there was not even a small online event as well. It was just a press release and they, just showcased the product on their Apple official site. And from then, we have been seeing hundreds and hundreds of videos about people talking about iPhone SE. So I have made a lot of points about the iPhone SE second generation in my notes. I'll be talking with you guys about in detail about what are the specs of this smartphone and why this smartphone is actually made. So first, let's talk about the specifications of the iPhone SE second generation. So let's talk about the design of this smartphone. So this smartphone, iconic iPhone SE, has the same design as the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 7, and it has the same number of bezels, thick bezels like the iPhone 7 Plus and the iPhone 8 Plus. So this is the same old design, and it has the same glass back and it has the same aluminum frame. It has the Touch ID in the front and single camera at the back. Just to match the design standards of the latest Apple iPhones, they have moved the Apple logo from the top to the middle of the smartphone. We have the stereo speaker setup, one speaker at the bottom and another speaker on the earpiece, and we have the lightning port on the smartphone as well. And also the iPhone SE 2020 comes in three different colors, that is the white, black and also the red color, that is the product red color. And since this smartphone has a very small form factor, it weighs only about 150 grams. This smartphone also supports wireless charging at 7.5 watt, and also it supports the wireless charging with Qi wireless charging standards. That means you don't have to buy any proprietary wireless charging pads. If you have any other wireless charging pad or wireless charger, you can use your iPhone SE 2020 to charge on that. And also the smartphone has IP67 water resistance. This smartphone is water resistant up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. That is 3.3 feet underwater. And also the smartphone has the legendary home button or Touch ID. Now let's talk about the screen on the front of this iPhone, that is the display. This smartphone iPhone SE 2020 comes with a 4.7-inch Retina HD IPS LCD display with a display resolution of 1334 x 750. That means the resolution of this display is lesser than that of the iPhone XR and also that of the iPhone 11. It's not OLED or AMOLED or something, it's just a normal IPS LCD display. And it also has thick bezels on the top and bottom, as we guys all know. And this smartphone supports the P3 wide color gamut, and it also supports the HDR10. It also has the 326 pixels per inch and peak max brightness of 625 nits. When it comes to the IPS LCD displays of other manufacturers and the IPS LCD displays of Apple, there is a huge difference. When you talk about the IPS LCD display panels that is found on the iPhone 8 or iPhone 8 Plus or even the iPhone XR or iPhone 11, and you compare it with the normal IPS LCD displays of any other Android smartphones, it has leaps and bounds of differences in the display. IPS LCD displays that Apple uses are one of the best IPS LCD displays. You have most accurate colors and really good viewing angles when compared to other cheap IPS LCD displays. And another thing is this smartphone also has the true tone in this display. That means depending upon the ambient lighting or depending upon the lighting conditions, this display can adjust its colors and contrast for better content viewing experience. This iPhone SE 2020 also supports the haptic touch. It doesn't support the 3D touch that we had seen on earlier iPhones, but it supports haptic touch that we have seen on iPhone 11, 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. So that means using this haptic touch, you can use some quick actions like if you long press on any Gmail icon or any camera icon, you can do some quick actions. Now let's talk about the internals of this smartphone, that is the Apple's A13 Bionic. Apple's A13 Bionic is by far the most powerful smartphone SoC that is present right now in 2020. It is more powerful than the Snapdragon 855 Plus. It's more powerful than the Snapdragon 865. If you are looking for any competitive gaming, or if you're looking to go for any gaming competitions, better than any OnePlus device or any other ROG phone or Nubia phone, iPhones are the best or the most consistent performers in terms of gaming. So that is only because of the optimization that is present on the A13 Bionic. This chipset A13 Bionic has 6 cores, that is 2 high performance cores which is clocked at 2.65 gigahertz, which is called Lightning, and 4 power saving cores which is called Thunder. And it is based on ARM architecture and it is a 7 nanometer architecture, and it is extremely power efficient as well. Until the point of Apple A12 Bionic, Apple was using Power VR GPU, but in A13 Bionic, Apple started to use their own custom-made GPU, which is a 4-core GPU, and it also has 8-core neural engine, which is extremely sufficient for all those AI and AR-related transactions. And this smartphone comes in 3 different storage options, that is 64GB, 128GB, and 256GB, and it also has 3GB of RAM. So now let's talk about the cameras on this iPhone. It has single camera at the back and single camera at the front. Single camera at the back is the same that is found on the iPhone XR, and it is a normal wide-angle lens. It's not an ultra-wide-angle or anything. It is at f1.8 aperture. It has smart HDR thanks to the Apple's A13 Bionic processing engine. You can shoot portrait mode, but the portrait mode is only available for people faces, and you can't take portrait mode of any objects or pets or something else. This single camera at the back supports optical image stabilization for extremely stable videos, and this smartphone doesn't support features such as night mode that is present on the Apple's iPhone 11, 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max. And now let's talk about the video recording. Video recording from the rear camera supports 720p, 1080p at 30 fps, 1080p at 60 fps, 4K at 30 fps, 4K at 60 fps, and across all these resolutions, HDR is supported. That means you can shoot 1080p 60 fps HDR, 4K 60 fps HDR, and also there is also a new video recording mode that we had seen on the iPhone 11 called the XDR, or Extended Dynamic Range, which is also present on this iPhone SE 2020. But at XDR, you can shoot only at 30 fps. When you talk about the front camera of this smartphone, it is a 7-megapixel shooter at f2.2 aperture, and it supports 1080p at 30 fps video recording. It also has HDR, studio lighting, portrait mode for faces and something like that. So all these features are present, guys, and the selfie camera of this smartphone will be exactly the same in terms of performance as the selfie camera of the iPhone XR. So that is one thing that you guys have to note down. And optical image stabilization is also present across all the resolutions from the rear camera. There is no OIS on the front camera, by the way. So now let's talk about the battery of this iPhone SE 2020. iPhone generally doesn't give out the mAh numbers like it has 3000 mAh or something like that, but according to the analyst and some other Chinese website listing, it has 1821 mAh of battery. But you don't have to worry about that, guys, because Apple A13 Bionics and iOS 13 optimization makes it absolutely wonderful battery life. So when you talk about the iPhone SE 2020, you can easily get around 7 to 8 hours of screen on time. That will not be a problem for you. And this smartphone supports 18 watt of fast charging, and also this 18 watt of fast charging should be done with the help of proprietary charger that should be purchased separately. Inside the box of iPhone SE 2020, you'll just get a 5-watt charger, which is normal to any other iPhones, as you guys know. This iPhone SE 2020 also supports wireless charging up to 7.5 watt, and it has Qi wireless charging standards. That means any other wireless charging pad that you have can be used for charging this smartphone wirelessly. Now let's talk about the miscellaneous of this smartphone. This smartphone has Bluetooth 5.0. This smartphone has Wi-Fi 6. It has dual SIM. One is a normal physical SIM, and the second SIM has to be a eSIM. And this smartphone has stereo speakers, which is absolutely wonderful. I love stereo speakers on smartphones. And this smartphone has the iOS 13 out of the box, and also Apple promises updates to this smartphone up to 2025, which is insane. Now let's talk about the most important point of this discussion, that is the pricing of this smartphone. Well, this smartphone is extremely affordable in US, that it is priced at around $399 in the United States. But when it comes to Indian pricing, it is just nuts. It costs around 42,500 rupees for the base 64GB variant, and the 128GB variant costs around 47,800, and the 256GB variant costs around 58,300 rupees. And as per Indian standards, this money is not at all in the budget variant. In that price range, you can get flagship smartphones in India like the S10e. You can get smartphones like the iPhone XR in some discounts and something, and also we can get smartphones like the upcoming Poco F2 or Redmi K30 Pro or something whenever those smartphones launches. This smartphone starts at 42,500, which is nowhere considered as budget category, but still this smartphone is the most affordable iPhone that you can buy in India right now. The iPhone XR, because of GST prices, just got hiked to 52,000. iPhone 11 also got hiked to 68,000 or something, and iPhone 11 Pro got hiked to around 1,06,000 or something. Now let's come to another point of the discussion, that is why actually Apple brought this smartphone, or why actually Apple released this smartphone. Point one. iPhone SE 2016 that came, the original iPhone SE, was one of the most successful compact smartphone. As per 2016 standards, it had internals of then flagship iPhone 6s, and also in the body and the compact size of the iPhone 5s. So this smartphone sold in huge numbers, and that's why Apple had plans of making the second generation of hugely successful iPhone SE, and that's why they brought this. Second point is there are actually 30% of people in the United States who still uses iPhones like iPhone 6s, iPhone 6s Plus, iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus, iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus. That means they're using smartphones with the home button. And if you know, people, once they get adjusted to something, they don't want to change. People like parents and grandparents, they don't want to have a change in their daily smartphone usage. Most important thing for them is not about a refresh rate, it's not about high resolution display, and they don't even care for smartphone displays like OLED, or it has a quad HD display, or it has something, but they only care for productivity. They use iPhones for taking some quick photos, taking some calls, taking some iMessages, syncing their fitness activity with their smart bands and the Apple Watches or something. And also there are people who use home buttons and like home buttons more than Face ID, and that is the section of audience Apple has actually catered this iPhone SE for. And also there is a group of target audience who don't like large smartphones. Personally, myself, I don't like smartphone sizes over 6.5 inches, and 4.7 inch smartphone or the compact form factor smartphone is only catered for that group of audience as well. Also, the target audience of this new iPhone SE 2020 is also the group of people who actually want to fill up their ecosystem. For example, there are people who are using the Apple iPad and the people who are using Apple's MacBook Pro or something, but they don't have an iPhone. They have not got an opportunity to buy an iPhone because iPhones have always been in the range of $600, $700, $800,000 to $1,500, and they had never seen cheap iPhones. And now it is a point for people who just want to fill their ecosystem, and they are the group of people who would be buying this smartphone. And another group of target audience is people who just like to buy an iPhone just for the matter of fact it's an iPhone. You guys might have seen these conversations happening in our groups, if you have bought a 50 or 60,000 rupee smartphone, there might be people who might have told you this: if you're buying a 50,000 rupee smartphone, why didn't you buy an iPhone? So these are the group of people who just Apple wants to target. And also there are a group of people who like to buy smartphones in the price range of 38, 39, 40,000 rupees, but they don't want to buy smartphones like Xiaomi, Redmi, Realme or something else, and they just want the smartphones from top brands like Samsungs and Apples. This is also the group of people that Apple has catered to. Since the price in India is extremely costly, if you're importing it from the US, it will be an excellent deal, guys. Now let's talk about one of the important things, that is about what OnePlus will be pricing their smartphones because of the iPhone SE 2020. Well, iPhone SE 2020 cost you around 42,000 rupees, and I'm sure after this lockdown lifts, there will be HDFC or ICICI offers and some exchange offers or something like that, which might bring down the price of this smartphone to somewhere around 38 or something, if I'm not wrong. At 38,000 rupees, just think about the psychology of people. At 38,000 rupees, would someone buy a Realme X50 Pro, or would someone buy a OnePlus 8, or would someone buy Mi 10 Pro if that comes, or if someone buys an iPhone SE 2020? That is one of the important things. It is all dependent on the psychology of people, guys. People generally would like to tell that I have an iPhone, no matter what iPhone it is. If you have an iPhone, it is like it's like a status symbol, as we have mentioned in our a lot of videos. Having an iPhone is like a status symbol for a lot of people. We who are watching this video are tech enthusiasts. We know that value for money of smartphones are one of the most important things. Newer designs, refresh rates and some things matters. But there are a group of people who would like to say, I have an iPhone, I use an iPhone, something like that. So that is a group of people who will be buying the smartphone the most. If you're getting an iPhone at around 39,000 rupees, there are millions and millions of people who don't care if it is an OnePlus 8, Realme X50 Pro, or it has a 65 watt charging, or it has 108 megapixel camera or something. They just push away everything and they just buy iPhones. If it is an iPhone, it is an iPhone. That is just like that. So that is a group of people who will be buying an iPhone SE 2020 at around 40,000 rupees. And at this time, since OnePlus 8 has been launched at around $699 in the United States, we'll have to wait and see what is the price at which they bring it to India. If they bring it around 44 or 45,000 rupees, I'm damn sure the sales are going to take a huge hit just because iPhone SE 2020 exists. So do let me know about your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. If you guys have liked this video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content ahead. Thank you for watching, guys.